Hey, thanks for stopping by.
All right. Hello there. And thank you so much for visiting your local comic, Sean. I'm Sean, and today Kristi has stopped by to talk Silk. If this is your first time listening or watching, Visiting Your Local Comic, Sean is a podcast where we normally talk comics in a book club style format. The titles guests and I are reading can be found on my socials at Local Comic Sean, well ahead of new episodes discussing them, and new episodes drop every Monday at midnight. For audio listeners, this podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. For those who prefer video, the podcast can also be found on YouTube. Please feel free to follow or subscribe on your platforms of choice. If you like the show and want to support it, I encourage you to subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribing gives you the opportunity to see behind the scenes content, learn how the podcast gets made, and or gain access to resources for both reading and digital creation. Thank you to all who subscribe to this show in any way, shape, or form. I truly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started and talk Silk. However, you want to, Kristi wants to know my thoughts on Captain America Brave New World.
Yes, I do. And before we say anything, I will let you know I saw this movie in 4DX. So I
4DX, what
had
does that mean? You felt the
it is
chairs shake when Hulk
yes.
roared?
It was immersive. There was water sprayed on me. The chairs were moving. There were scents put through the theater. So there was a environment in this, much
Mm.
like the theater that had the roof collapse on them recently while
Oh,
watching
I
this
saw
movie.
that. Yeah, that was funny. The
Yeah.
memes were brutal, just being like, "Oh yeah, theater collapsed during a showing of Captain America: Brave New World. Good thing that there was only two people in the theater, so
I
nobody got
mean,
harmed." So I
I
forget what you were shocked that I thought the movie was like decent, or
yeah, I
what were your
was.
thoughts on the movie? Let's start with you because I forget what you. I remember getting texts being like, "Bruh."
No, what I don't know. I have more of an MCU fan rather than a Marvel comic fan. I have been watching these movies for many, many years. I remember when the first Avengers came out, and now I can just feel the Marvel cinematic universe kind of just crumbling right before my eyes. I mean, it's been crumbling, but like I wanted to give it just like an inkling of faith. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But like after watching this movie and the way that they kind of just ruined Sam's character for me. Like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of just like it gave me some faith, after seeing WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was so excited for this next phase of the MCU. And then I don't know what happened from that point. I'm still kind of holding on to this inkling of faith with Thunderbolts coming out, but they ruined Sam's character. I thought that the scene where they made Sam kind of how like persuade Isaiah to kind of let like be tortured the way that he was tortured
Yeah.
before really did not sit well with me.
Hmm.
With the kind of political atmosphere that the MCU has been trying to push a little bit,
Hmm.
and they kind of went in the opposite direction of what they were going into. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just overall was. I don't even I can't even remember what the fuck the guy's name is. Who's
The
the bad
leader.
guy in the movie?
The leader.
Yes. That's his name, the leader?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Oh.
Samuel Stearns, but like his.
Yes, Stearns.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have not seen the Incredible Hulk movie since he came out
I
in
watched it before
2008.
seeing Brave New World, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I mean, I went in and I was like, oh, okay. I still don't recall who this man is because the last time I saw the Incredible Hulk movie, I was probably 8 years old.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
that was something
that was
that
the big thing going into this movie is like it's not a Captain America movie, it's a sequel to The Incredible Hulk.
that's the vibe I got, and I was like, first of all, there's a reason why there was only one Incredible Hulk movie.
Just so you know, your microphone keeps like cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. It's
It's
probably my
okay.
AirPods.
Oof.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just I'm like
Um,
listening to you be like, "Oh my God, that movie was just oh."
yeah, I'll move my hair out of the way then, or I won't touch them.
Mm.
Um, really, really pissed me off. I don't know. Also, having Bucky
Cut out again.
run. Uh, Let me try and get my other pair of headphones.
Okay.
Or let's see, I because I don't want to have like the reverb of
Yeah.
Is it okay if I have my
Yeah.
headphones not in?
Oh, well, you sound great right now.
Okay. Um,
You want? I found the text. If you want to, I found the text. Just you thoughts on Cap, and I went. Cap was a solid 7 out of 10, better than I expected, but forgettable. And you were like, for real? Four question marks. And then you're like, I literally gave it a 1.5 out of 5. I sincerely feel like they ruined characters.
yes,
Bucky being a congressman is quite literally the most out of character thing for him to do.
that had me so angry. I mean, I love Sam Bucky as much as the next girlie does. Love their the blooming
Romance.
relationship that they're finally having.
Hmm.
Finally giving in and saying that they love each other. But Bucky running, he literally killed John F. Kennedy. He literally assassinated a president, and they're like, somebody put this man in Congress.
Wait, Bucky killed JFK in the MCU?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember that. I know he killed Howard Stark and performed other hits,
I'm pretty
but
sure that he killed JFK
I'm
in
looking
the
that up.
show.
Did Bucky did Bucky kill JFK in the MCU? Oh my God. Yes, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Bucky, also known as the Winter Soldier, assassinated John F. Kennedy. That's crazy.
Yep.
When was that confirmed?
That one, I'm pretty sure that was confirmed in Civil War.
There's a page that goes, oh, there's like a tie-in comic, maybe?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I did not know Bucky was responsible for JFK in the MCU. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So is
Like
Bucky a Democrat or a Republican?
um, um, that's a really tough question because the Bucky Barnes that I know is a Democrat. The Bucky Barnes that some other people may know, people may think he's a Republican, considering the fact that he was born in the 1920s and that he, you know, I, I, I just yeah, that was just a lot for me to take in because people saw that in like the Thunderbolts trailer and I was like, fuck, this cannot be real. This cannot be real. And when they were like, Congressman Barnes, I was like like, are you kidding me? Like just every part of this movie just did not sit right with me. Nothing
Hmm.
sat right with me. I went in not with high hopes. I went in being like, okay, I'm kind of hoping that this is good because I've loved all of the Captain America movies.
Hmm.
They were like the first Avenger is probably like it's like a comfort movie for me.
Hmm.
And I love Sam as a character. He's great as Captain America. I don't want anybody to think I have a problem with him as Captain America because
I
he
don't
is
know,
a Captain
Kristi. It
America.
sounds like you don't think Sam Wilson deserves to hold the shield.
If there's anybody who deserves to hold the shield, it's him. But they made his movie Booty Crack, and now they're not going to make another one. So
Well, that was the thing for me. I expected the movie to be dog shit.
mm-hmm.
And so being that it somewhat told a story, I was like, all right, a 7 out of 10. I wasn't like completely like devastated and like, oh my God, this sucks. But I was also not like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. Like honestly, 6, 7, like that's my rating. Cause like it's one of those movies that I'm really not gonna remember like
and that's
in a
the thing
few
is I can't really
years.
remember too much of it either. But I
Like
know that I was pissed.
I think the Giancarlo Esposito stuff, like, being reshot and everything, like Giancarlo Esposito, he kills in everything. What a waste to use him as Sidewinder. Just because like originally that was supposed to be Seth Rollins as like Diamondback or whatever, the
The wrestler
wrestler.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah, he was cut from this movie. He was supposed to play like Diamondback or whatever, and so they basically replaced Seth Rollins with Giancarlo Esposito. Um, and like the reshoots were a little, the CGI or whatever background stuff
Mm-hmm.
they had going on looked like shit.
Looked horrible.
Um, I thought Harrison Ford did a really good job though.
Of
Um,
course, he bodies every
I
single role he's
think
in.
I think I enjoyed this movie more because I watched The Incredible Hulk like the day before. I think if I
Mm-hmm.
just went in without remembering anything from Incredible Hulk or having any of that be fresh, I would have been like, what am I watching? I
That's
don't care.
and you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, like I've seen like
so many Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've seen The Incredible Hulk. I watched She-Hulk, which I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed.
I'm shocked that like Hulk didn't show up in
Yeah.
like the end credit scene to like I don't know talk to Ross or something. The end credit scene being just the leader going, "I've done the calculations. There's more worlds out there." I'm like, "Yeah, we know about Secret
Whoa,
Wars
there's
already.
more worlds out there?
We
That's
don't care."
crazy.
Like I
It's almost
just
like they've been saying that for the past 10 years.
yeah, I just the movie was like okay to me. I think it was just like I was surprised it was actually like a story, and I think that's why I was like, all right, decent movie. I'm not gonna remember it. The leader, that's a way to go. Eternals stuff is being brought in. I just was like, all right, whatever. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Solid 6 or 7 out of 10.
I'm mourning that there's probably not going to be an Eternal sequel. I don't know how you feel about the Eternals, but that was a movie that I really enjoyed.
I didn't care for it.
I watched it
Again,
multiple times.
another movie that I watched and it was just kind of like this is kind of forgettable to me. There's a lot of MCU projects lately outside of like Daredevil that like I
Mm,
feel like it's not even because I don't want to be one of those haters on the internet. It's just like, oh my God, the Marvel sucks because women. That's gonna get clipped, and somebody's gonna be
I
like,
know,
Sean,
yeah.
Sean says the Marvels. It's like, what is it from Scooby Doo? You're just trying to make it think that I say Coolville sucks. Wait,
Yeah.
don't use that. Anyway, but yeah, no, like there are just a lot of projects lately though that I just watch, and I'm like, I'm not gonna shit on it, but I'm also just I felt nothing. Like
Yeah.
Echo, I felt nothing.
I didn't even watch Echo.
A lot of those Disney Plus shows, in my opinion, they start out interesting and then they just
Yeah, and then they
fall
let
apart
him.
by the end.
Mhm.
And like I feel like Echo was another one of those. Like I was on board for like the first episode or two, and then by the end, I was just like, I don't even care that Kingpin's here. Like, I just don't care about anything going on. Because also, like, they
Yeah.
give Echo powers. And I'm like, you did not need to give Echo powers. Part of the reason she
Mhm.
was cool was that she was a character with prosthetic leg and deaf and like, so two disabilities, and she kicks
Mhm.
ass. You didn't need to give her like super strength from ancestor powers or whatever. I just would have been down for like a gritty, she's beating the crap out of Kingpin goons or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again, it's kind of like the Moon Knight effect, I think, because like Moon Knight,
Yeah.
he's not supposed to have a healing factor as fast as Wolverine, but he's getting impaled with spears and he's fine. Like he's supposed to be like an on the ground brawler.
Mhm.
And so that's the kind of thing. Like the Marvels felt nothing. Brave New World felt nothing. Deadpool and Wolverine I had fun with, but
Yeah.
like I don't think that was like a masterpiece.
No.
Like
I
I walked out I remember like seeing that movie and like the opening was like fun with the
mhm.
dancing and everything. And then it cuts to him talking to Happy Hogan for like 5-10 minutes. And I'm
Mm.
just there like wow, we really just killed the pacing here. Like I don't care about this conversation. And that's just kind of how I feel lately. Like Daredevil, you know, I will say, outside of like the first 15 minutes, I think the show is very good so far, like dialogue wise and all
Mm.
that. But like the first 15 minutes with that CGI and everything looked like shit. Um,
I haven't gotten around to watching the
it,
new episode yet
yeah,
though.
that's why I don't want to spoil anything because I didn't think you would watch it yet. But like the first 15 minutes, like it's like they tried to capture the action of the original show, but they covered it up with CGI and it just looks like shit.
And that's what
Um,
happens when Disney Plus takes over everything. I think
yeah.
Disney Plus taking all of these Marvel names and just being like, "Guys, we've got your favorite character." I
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever seen the Star Wars Tumblr post where it's like, "Oh my gosh, this character Glup Shido,"
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
seen
become
it.
kind of like a meme where it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, they're making a Glup Shido movie," and it's
Hmm.
like, "Holy shit!" Um,
Like
but
honestly, like Loki still remains the best show for me. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a close second. Um, Maybe then I would go Miss Marvel, but like Miss Marvel, I feel like I hated that Miss Marvel ended with a Home Alone style sequence where they're using like tennis ball launchers to fight commandos
yeah,
in a school.
you didn't like WandaVision?
WandaVision I thought was fine by the end of it. I
I
think
don't know. I don't know. Maybe because
I
it was the first Marvel show that I like. It had that novelty to me.
well, that's the thing. I feel like WandaVision I enjoyed more because of the intrigue of it. But
Hmm.
like if I were to go back and we rewatch it, I feel like I wouldn't care as much. Actually, Agatha ended up being a surprise, really
I
good
did not
show.
watch that either.
It actually like the I think the first episode sucks. I think the back half of the finale sucks. I think the rest of it, solid show. I actually had a really good time with it. But
They
like
had
the first,
freaking Patty LaPone.
who's Patty LaPone?
Fucking you know, she's the old woman in the show.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I don't know much of her like outside of the show.
She's like, pretty sure she has like an EGOT.
Oh, okay.
That might be Liza Minnelli that I'm mixing her up with.
No idea. But yeah, no, but the Falcon and Winter Soldier, like I honestly don't remember much of it. I think it was just, it had
I
some
don't
decent
know.
fight scenes outside of the Hulk stuff at the end. And eh, I feel like it was mostly forgettable. Like when his buddy gets
Yeah.
blown up by a missile, I'm like, all right. Like I felt nothing, but because it wasn't dog shit, I'm like, all right. I expected it to be worse.
I guess just because the characters that were in this movie, Sam, Bucky, Isaiah, are characters that I genuinely really enjoyed when they were in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier was awesome
Yeah,
outside of the villain and like Batroc the Leaper just randomly being there.
yeah.
Um,
It was
'cause-
just one of those things where I was like, "You're my boy. You
mhm,
massacred my boy," and
yeah,
I'm just like, it's just one of those things for me. Like, I have some characters that are near and dear to my heart, and when they absolutely like fucking ruin their reputations, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Like, I know obviously we're paving the way to Doomsday now. A bunch of concept art got leaked about that and
I did see
everything.
that. Yeah.
Saw that, but like, the thing I just saw out of SXSW or whatever is
South by
that
Southwest.
whatever it's called, Robert Downey Jr. is apparently writing the backstory for Doctor Doom. I'm sure nobody's gonna have a problem with that who just want to see like a good Doctor Doom portrayal. Yeah, we'll see. Like now, if they said Jonathan Hickman, the guy that wrote Secret Wars, is apparently writing Doctor Doom's backstory in the MCU, I'm sure everybody would be on board. But like, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. You know who's probably not going to be in the MCU though?
Who?
Silk.
Yep. Speaking of Silk,
Speaking of
the
Silk.
show Sony has a deal. I guess
Oh
they're
my
gonna go
God, I
through.
forgot a Silk show was like at
They
one point in development.
well, I only recently was not like said that it wasn't in development anymore, probably because of the flops that were Madam Web and Craven the Hunter. Kind of like side characters, I guess. Like,
It was shelved in May 2024 was when
yep,
Silk was shelved apparently. But they're
yep, and that
making
was
the
right
live
after Madam
action
Web came out,
Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage because that's been filming.
and that's I don't know. They just hate women, I guess.
I guess so. Can't disagree with you there.
Because me personally
I don't know
love
why
Madam Web.
Madam Web was like a huge hit.
I love Madam Web. I love Madam Web.
Do you actually like ironically or you actually enjoy it?
Okay, it's a mixture of both. Because like I saw it in the theater. I saw it on a date with a girl.
Aw.
And
Did the
I saw
date go
it.
well or did it like
It did go
flounder
well. It
as
did
Oh,
go
okay.
well. It was a good date. Um, but
Are you still with the person?
no.
Probably shouldn't have seen Madam Web.
Well, you know what? It's fine. But um I enjoyed it. I thought that the acting in it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was more so like the direction from whoever.
If you accept the responsibility, great power will come.
I was just like, what the fuck? Like the
I
movie was
saw
just corny.
I
It was
saw that
bad. It
movie
was slow paced.
twice in
Whatever.
theaters. I first went by myself just to see it because that's what I do when I go to movies. I just see it by myself because I don't want to wait for people to coordinate. And so I just go. And then I saw with a buddy of mine and we go and I turned to him. I had gotten like a beer or something and I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, do you want to get a beer or something? Like I could grab you one." And he goes, "I got to be honest with you, dude. I took an edible before coming here. So like I'm good." And so we start watching it. And it got to the scene that they're at the baby shower and
Mm.
everybody's drinking Pepsi. And so we were talking the whole movie, joking about like just making fun of the movie. And so I turned to him and I went, "Wow, you could tell this movie's sponsored by Pepsi." And then he turned to me, he goes, "Well, yeah, the villain gets crushed by a giant Pepsi sign at the end." And I went, "Oh shit, I forgot all about that already."
No, there's, you know what? I respect a good movie product placement, if I'm gonna
Mm,
be so honest. You know, like the
mm.
scene. Have you ever seen Wayne's World?
No, I haven't seen Wayne's World, but I
Well,
know of it.
there's a scene in Wayne's World where he's like, oh, this the capitalistic pigs and their shills or whatever, and he's like, and it's like, I would never succumb to that, and it's like, but I do love Papa John's, and it's like they're like showing like the Papa John. I don't know if it was exactly Papa John's, but just like whatever, like Domino's, something. But that was just like it just reminded me of that when you said that.
Yeah.
But Sony, yes, Sony hates Silk, and it's not going to be developed. And I mean, after reading this series, I'm kind of like, okay, I understand why.
All right, so let's get into it. For this episode, we read the first Silk solo title, which clearly it picks up in like the following title because this
Yeah.
clearly got cut short by Secret Wars, and then the story just continues after Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Um, so this original run only went for 7 issues. It picks up after Spider-Verse, and like Silk's debut in like the Dan Slott Spider-Man. And so the series was predominantly written by Robbie Thompson, who is awesome. He was a writer on Supernatural. He wrote really, I loved his Suicide Squad run,
Mhm.
uh, like the first few issues. After like the annual around issue 7, it kind of like fell apart. But like the first 6, 7 issues, he had me hooked, and it was like awesome writing. And then the art on Silk this run was predominantly Stacey Lee. Um, and so it ran across 2015. What'd you think?
For me, I enjoy Silk as a character. I've read other runs with Silk that I
Hmm.
enjoyed a little bit more than this one. Um, I thought it was short. I like her as a character. I just was left with so many unanswered questions. And I mean,
Yeah.
of course, that happens from time to time, but I
Well, it
just,
definitely gets picked up in the following run because like
yeah, of course.
it just looks like Secret Wars was like, oh, pause, we'll come back to this.
Yeah. And that's like, yet again, putting a woman on a back burner. Am I wrong? They hate her. Cindy Moon, they could never make me hate you.
Mm.
The way that they want me to hate you, but
Yeah, I haven't
um
read much Silk outside of this run. I read she was in the second run of Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider because for whatever reason they made that book a team up between Robbie Reyes Silk, totally awesome Hulk, and like X-23, I think.
mhm,
Um, and then she appeared in the latest Spider-Man run, which started with like End of the Spider-Verse by Dan Slott. So that's
mhm.
about I have to read Spider-Verse, I have to read Spider-Geddon. So this was like my main, experience reading just Silk.
Yes.
Hmm.
It I mean, I love like the random female side character that shows up in like one issue that they end up making like 5 series about.
Mm.
Like America.
Hmm.
But I I I don't know. It just makes me, I hope, like I'm gonna be reading the next series after this. I just wish that they kind of touched on like subjects a little bit more in the way that they were going about things. They were like, Cindy, for some reason when the Fantastic Four showed up, I was like, what?
That was the best
And
issue for me.
yeah, me too, definitely. And when Reed was like, I think he might just have anxiety. Like, you're having performance issues because you have anxiety. And then she's like, God, stupid. Of course I don't have anxiety. And then she's like, hey guys, do I have anxiety? And they were like, I don't, like, what? What are you talking about? It just like it didn't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
that kind of frustrated me a little bit because
Well, it's
like,
also funny she's asking like just people who only know her in the office, and like
yes,
she's not being like, "Do you think I have anxiety? I was locked in a bunker for like 10
I
years."
know. It's like I'm only like just refacing the world for the first time in 10 years, and now I'm supposed to be an adult and I'm supposed to have all this stuff done, but no, I'm just like a superhero now, and even though I still don't even really know how to use my powers, etc. And it's just could have so much more could have been done
Hmm.
with her figuring that out a little bit
Yeah.
more, and it just fell flat.
Well, the next run goes for 19 issues, so I'm sure, because Robbie Thompson is the writer on the next one, so it looks like they do just kind of pick up where they left off. Um, but yeah, this run is pretty quick. Like,
Very quick.
she just to give the quick play-by-play, she fights the guy that dresses up as a dragon, the dragon guy. Black Cat is kind of the main villain of this run, which I wasn't expecting.
Hmm.
She's like, I guess, a mob boss at this time, and she's like
Yes.
gunning for Silk because Silk has interfered with like a heist or something
Hmm.
that the dragon guy was supposed to do. So you got her dealing with Black Cat and this dragon guy. Dragon guy ends up being a better. He was honestly, if we were gonna get into the standout character, I like the dragon dude. I don't
I
remember
did
his
like him too.
name, but I liked that he kind of like turns into a good guy. He's got the kid at home. And like even during the Secret Wars issue, he's like he just went out to help people type deal.
His last name was Porter. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dragon dude. I'm sticking to Dragon dude. And like so like I like how they start out like fighting, but then like, I liked that Silk didn't just like, oh, you're going to prison or this and that. Like she takes him to the hospital,
Hmm.
has him get patched up, and is like, listen, you could probably do something better with your life if you have a kid at home. And like he listens to that, resonates. Like I liked that dynamic. I like
It
seeing
did.
Silk as like not just the hero that's gonna, punch the bad guy and they go to prison. Like
Hmm.
she's trying to actually like help people in a sense of like not just by, beating up muggers and this and that. Like even if there's a bad guy that's like, she's like, all right, but hold on, like, why are you doing this? What's going on here?
She has the empathy for the person who's underneath the suit,
Yeah.
which I think that a lot of, so many superheroes don't kind of do that with
Hmm.
a lot of the things in the comics, etc. Because he's saying that he's doing this because he doesn't have money.
Yeah.
He needs the money for his daughter. He's a single father. It just from the context of the comic, and who like a neighbor watching his daughter.
Hmm.
And I think that that genuinely like showed how human she is and shows how she's vulnerable. It
Yeah.
may be a weakness that they may use against her in the future,
Hmm.
which is sad to see. But
Hmm.
I mean, that's her whole thing, and that's kind of where the anxiety aspect of it comes in as well. And like, she is a human being, and she has her own human being faults, not just like falling flat in performing where she's needed to be performing.
Yeah. And so, we get that dynamic and it's, Uh, I would say, last time you and I read America,
Mm-hmm.
there are some similar themes, I think, when it comes to Silk, because like she
Yes.
is, isolating herself and kind of pushing people away. Peter, especially, even though her and Peter had a weird dynamic where like they constantly want to be with each other,
Yeah.
because they were bitten by the same spider, which I'm putting that delicately. It's even more weird. So like she doesn't want to really get help from Peter,
Yeah.
and she keeps blowing Peter off, but she'll also like call him to be like, hey, I need a bit of advice. And he'll try giving it. And then she's like, you know what? This was a mistake. Bye. So she's got that going on with Peter. She's so now Black Cat's like gunning for her. And while all this is happening, because she doesn't really have anywhere to go, she was like crashing on the couch of a friend because she's working for the Fact Channel or whatever, which I
Mhm.
guess is what J. Jonah Jameson was doing like post Daily Bugle. It's like another news outlet. And so she's working for J. Jonah Jameson, because there's like a few mysteries going on here. Her family's missing
Mhm.
because when she went to the bunker, you know, she, because what was it, Ezekiel,
Yes.
classic Madam Web character Ezekiel, um, encouraged her to go into this bunker to protect her from Morlun and the Inheritors. Um, the vampire spider eating people. Um, so like her family went missing in the time that she was locked in the bunker. So she was crashing on like a friend's couch, but then that friend, gets with somebody and like starts a relationship. And so she's like, I don't want to be in this apartment anymore because like they kind of start moving in together. Everything.
Mm.
By the way, I do love Silk's personality
I do
in
love
this
it.
book because the one standout moment that I think of, especially when it comes to like those two characters that get together is how Silk just like jumps into it because they're like, hey, maybe we could go out to the club, the three of us. And Silk says in front of the crush, and it's like, it's very obvious you want to ask her out. Can you just ask her out already? And then
Hmm.
the crush is like, really? And like Silk just sets him up, being like, there we go. We cut
Yeah.
through, we cut through the
Mhm.
noise here. We're done.
Well, my thing is that, she's been in this bunker for 10 years. She's not understanding the social cues
Yeah.
that she should be understanding because she's been
Hmm.
so isolated.
Yeah. And so, but like while this is going on, so she moves out of the apartment, goes back to the bunker. Um, and so she's using her job at the fact channel to try and look for her family. But while she's doing this, she's fighting with Black Cat and like her goons. But then also somebody's watching her in the bunker, and there's the what was it, the engineer or whatever, the guy that is
Hmm.
making tech for Black Cat. Apparently he's working for somebody that has it out for Silk, which we don't find out who that is in the book,
Hmm.
because apparently maybe the parents are being held by this mystery party. um and then the final issue is Silk does manage to track down her brother. Her
Yes.
brother's not where she expected him to be. Apparently, he's gotten involved in gangs. But I did like the ending of Secret Wars is happening, the world is ending. The final shot is she finally finds
Yes.
her brother, and the last shot is like before the world fades into Battle World or whatever. They embrace, and it's like they've reconnected.
Yeah.
Um, and I do
With the
think,
help of J. Jonah Jameson.
with the help, I will say, I love when we get heartfelt J. Jonah Jameson
Yes.
content, because like it's very easy to do J. Jonah Jameson's an asshole and everything,
Hmm.
but like I like that they show he does have like the layers underneath him, because
Yeah.
like he asked her like, what are you doing on this site? She goes, I'm looking for my family, they've gone missing. And
Hmm.
then he has that next few panels of tell me everything you know. Like he just sits straight down, is like, all right, I'm gonna call somebody I used to know in the force, like I'm gonna,
Yeah.
like, I like, that side of J. Jonah Jameson. You get that in the new Ultimate Spider-Man run that's coming out.
Hmm.
So like I like seeing that stuff. I think the standout issues for the book for me were issues 4 with Fantastic Four,
Hmm.
which that was the issue that Peter recruits Reed to kind of like help Silk, because he's like, clearly you're not going to listen to me, so I've enlisted Reed to like see what's maybe going on with you. And then while that happens, you get Johnny Storm going, hey, you want to go out? And I love how Silk kind of does it to piss off Peter, because Peter's like,
Yeah.
you're not going to get anywhere, Johnny. She goes, actually, pick me up at 8.
Yeah.
um I think that whole issue is just phenomenal. Their dynamic, where they're getting dinner and they're both bored and they're like, "You want to get out of here?" And they just start fighting crime
Yeah.
together. I thought that was fun. And then I
Very
think
cute.
issue 7 was probably like my favorite issue, where
Mhm.
she's trying to get to her brother across town.
I liked those sequences.
Yeah, and she's like, she can't help but stop to try and help everybody that's in danger. And so she's delaying her getting to her brother. That's like the main goal, because the world's ending. J. Jonah Jameson even says, he goes, listen, I'm ordering you to go there because the world is ending. You might as well spend your final moments knowing.
Hmm.
Because she doesn't want to go. She's like, oh, I don't know. But I liked how you had her like she can't help but keep stopping along the way.
Yeah.
And then finally she gets there, reconnects with her brother, ends with them embracing. Like I thought that was phenomenal issue.
I agree. The panels of her just stopping and saying, I gotta get to my brother," and then you see her stopping and helping just anybody, and then
Yeah,
she's
like
in
a
the hospital,
bus is
and
like falling into like the ground, and she's like, God damn it.
I know, yeah, she's finally in the hospital, and they're like, she's like, "Oh my god, can you please like tell me where so and so is?" And they're like, "I don't know. The world is ending. Like I can't help you." And she's like,
Hmm.
she took the time to help all these people, and then these people can't even just be like, they at least they were able to say like, "Oh well, these people are probably going to be on this floor, whatever," but
Yeah.
they weren't able to give her the kindness that she was giving them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, I I don't know. Cindy genuinely is just like a very like empathetic character. She just has too much to give to people, but also can't give it back to herself.
Mm.
Like in the scene where she's talking about her anxiety, and she has other people trying to take care of her, but she's pushing them away, and she only really cares about taking care of others. Like she's
Hmm.
calling Peter, and she's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" But then as soon as she's talking and is like,
Yeah, as soon as he
"Yeah,"
asks, she's like, this was a mistake. Bye.
she's like, "Oh, why the fuck are you talking about me?" Like,
Hmm. Yeah. So what
yeah,
did you like about these 7 issues? What stood out to you as like, ah, this was cool?
The coolest part was, hmm, I like we were talking about the end sequence, the last issue where she's trying to get to her brother. It came in a little bit fast. I was very like
Hmm.
shocked by it. But
Yeah,
J.
you
Jonah
get that
Jameson,
cliffhanger at the end of 6 that's like, I guess I should call this therapist. It's not like it's the end
yeah.
of the world, right? And then you have the arrow saying
Mhm.
the literal end of the world as you
Yep.
see the red skies for Secret Wars.
Uh-huh. Um, I Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I just thought that those panels were really good. That was probably the best part for me. It's kind of nice to sometimes, we talked about this a little bit with America, kind of seeing like the slice of life a little bit and seeing her kind of just do like, you know, she's still working and she's still kind of like, the Peter Parker type
Hmm.
archetype where she's, you know, giving the Silk information, trying to get, money from
Yeah,
doing
she's
her side
reporting on
stuff.
herself.
Yeah.
I guess it's more in like a Superman kind of way because she's
Yeah.
writing the stories about her.
Hmm.
And it's like, all right. Or is she even writing the stories or is it just like she's gathering the stories?
I
Seemed
feel
like
like
she was
she's
just kind of
gathering some of the
gathering, yeah.
information because then at one point, Jameson is like, "Oh my God, you didn't see what the fuck happened with Silk. Why didn't you give me any information on that?" And she's like, "Well, I was a little bit busy."
Hmm.
Um, I always love that. It's so cliche at this point, after however many years of Superman and Spider-Man just doing all that, but I do love it. I love
Hmm.
it. And she does it in a girl boss kind of way. But at the same time, like I liked the flashbacks to her life before she was Silk a little
Yes.
bit, kind of giving us more information as the series went on. At first you kind of think that her parents aren't really as accepting of her. She has a boyfriend who they don't really like that much. They're like, you need to start focusing on your studies. And she's like, well, why the fuck can't I just be like a teenager and have my
Hmm.
boyfriend? Like, I'm enjoying my life. I want to do this. And they're like, no, we don't want you to do that. But then it shows as they go on, she kind of like ended up running away, I think, for a little while. Um, if I recall correctly. Um,
Well, I think it's that I did get a little lost in terms of that
yeah,
flashback, but I think the idea was like I think she stormed out of the house. She didn't like run
yeah.
away, but I think the idea was she wanted to go to like a hockey game or
Hmm.
something and play with like her boyfriend, but the parents were like, well, you need to keep your grades up and everything. They're offering extra credit to go to this field trip. So you need
Hmm.
to go on this field trip and everything. And obviously that was the field trip, or at least I'm pretty sure that was the field trip where they go to the lab and Peter gets bitten by the spider and so does she.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, so she does that. And then Ezekiel shows up being like, hi, you need to go into a bunker for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was the shots or the flashbacks of when she does discover that she has her powers and her
Hmm.
parents were so understanding, as opposed to what we've seen in like different areas of people not accepting their kids when they have
Yeah,
powers. They're like, yo, what the hell?
it kind of was like a reverse Frozen in a sense, is the best
Yes.
way I could put it.
Hmm.
Because, like, I can't believe I'm comparing it to Frozen, but like, where you have Elsa, like, her parents are like, oh, we're gonna shutter everything off and you're not gonna go anywhere. Like, they see like she's having like this problem where like she's literally spinning webs from her fingers
Hmm.
and all this stuff, and they're like, we're gonna figure this out. Like, we're here for you.
Yeah, she was clashing with them, but at the end of the day, she still turned to them when she
Yeah.
was struggling, and she was able to talk to her parents, and that I think is also contributing to the anxiety that she's having. She doesn't have anybody to lean on, but she felt like at least she could have leaned on her parents if they were around. It did just kind of break my heart. It broke my heart, but I did like this scene when her brother was like, "I'm scared of you."
Hmm.
And that then it cuts to the brother later on in the issue or in the next issue, whichever, and it shows him Silk, Cindy Moon or whatever, all over this. She's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like he was looking for her at the same time that she was looking for him, which was like, oh,
Hmm.
like it's cute. Like at least we know that they have each other even in
Yeah.
those last few moments.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the series.
Yeah. And like another uh you made me think of it and I've lost it. There's with the flashback, one part that I really liked is like, it's a big thing that she's trying to like adjust to the modern day because she has been isolated for 10 years, and also like what she has lost. And I did like, you get that flashback of her breaking up with her boyfriend because the
Mm-hmm.
cover story is she's going to be studying in Oxford, and then she, of all places, like bumps into him on the street in present day after she's like just been in the sewer fighting like a monster or whatever,
Yeah.
or it was like the Hydra robot.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up and he's like, I did try, I called the school and they said you were never there. So like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah. And then, you get the heartbreak moment of he's engaged and has a fiance and all this stuff. She's like, okay, good
Uh,
seeing you. Bye.
I know, yeah, that part broke me a little bit.
Yeah. But what did you dislike about the series?
Um, I disliked how fast it was.
Yeah.
I already said this earlier. Excuse me. Sorry. I disliked just how kind of a little bit all over the place it was,
Hmm.
giving us, flashbacks, which I love a good flashback. It just felt like, oh, I don't know, not enough for me.
Sometimes it cut into like the main story.
Yes, it cut into
Hmm.
the main story sometimes, and I was kind of lost a little bit. So
Yeah.
like when Black Cat showed up, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? But then I
Yeah.
kind of it was a little bit hard to follow in the beginning, but as it kind I guess at issue 4, which is, at the halfway point out of this 7-issue series, is finally when I kind of understood what was going on. Um
Hmm.
yeah, so that's what I disliked about it. Just the how fast paced it was, how just I sometimes I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah. I didn't like Black Cat in this book.
Yeah.
And I looking ahead just at like the covers for like the subsequent run that continues off of these 7 issues, it's weird. Like it looks like they kind of make Black Cat like the main, antagonist for Silk. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, that's a choice. Because I'm used to
Yeah.
just reading like the Jed McKay Black Cat stuff from like 2019 onward, where she's just, she's having fun doing heists and this and that, and she's really doing things for the thrill of it. It was kind of weird for me to see this side of Black Cat that like she's trying to be like a mob boss in a sense and run things.
Yeah.
And like even to the point of like, okay, so we're gonna take out Silk because she's bad for business and this and that. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is weird just seeing Black Cat in this like mob boss role. Because again, I'm used to her being like, all right, I want to break into Stark Industries to get this thing that I'm going to need for something later on.
Mhm.
And I'm going to, basically trick Tony Stark and all this stuff. And she's just doing it for like the thrill and for fun. And then you get, her in this. I thought it was a very odd, just character dynamics. I did like Peter when he showed up in the book,
Mhm.
but I do feel like, I mean, I hate saying this because it's her story, so it should be like her series, and Peter shouldn't be in like every issue. But
Mhm.
like, you didn't really get much with Peter
No, it
in
was
this
like one or
book.
two lines.
Yeah, like it again, it was constantly like, and I get it, he's getting blown off, but like he shows up at the very start. They have like a phone call or two. He brings it to the Fantastic Four, and then I think the last part is like after she's fought Black Cat, he like shows up to be like, "Are you okay?" And like that's about it. Um, I feel like I don't know. I feel like Peter could have been in this or just had a bigger moment, not even a bigger role, because then again, I feel like that's taking away from Silk and her story by like overshadowing her with Peter. But like, if they had such a dynamic of closeness, actually, you know what? I'm taking this back because it, probably in Dan Slott's Spider-Man, there's way more of this, and so they didn't need to do any of this. But yeah, I just feel like Peter was missing a bit from this. That's just a bit. I could have used like maybe one good scene of like them having more of a heart to heart and like in that, issue 6 where like he shows up to like and they like hug to like he's comforting her. Like I could have dealt with like a little more of like just a conversation or something maybe.
No, I agree. Like even just giving her like an inkling of of advice
Yeah.
or,
Mentorship.
comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mentorship, even just in like the slightest.
Hmm.
Um, it would have helped me, I feel like it would have just helped her so much more.
Yeah.
It would have helped her like go through the motions just a little bit more because while they're not like in the same boat in terms of what they've gone through as, being a spider person,
Hmm.
um, she could have just had somebody who even slightly knows what it's like to be what she's going through.
Yeah, but I guess it is part of the character arc and dynamic of
Yeah.
she's trying to shut him out and others and like do things on her own and
Hmm.
not have to like talk about anything. So she does open up by like the end. She does go to the therapist and everything. So, but yeah, that was funny just with Reed Richards and like smartest guy ever. He's having her do VR simulations, fighting Galactus and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And then he's like, "So do you think you maybe have anxiety?" And she's like, no, clearly something else is wrong with me.
She's like, no, you're
Um,
stupid.
yeah. She does call Reed stupid, doesn't she? Doesn't she?
So,
I think so.
but she
Reed's like
questions his
second
intelligence
smartest
for a
person
reason.
on the earth. Um, but yeah, so the important question, do you prefer Silk with the long hair or the short hair?
I like the short hair.
You like the short hair?
Once she cut the hair off, I was like, it was like the the in Endgame or like whatever when Thanos showed up. I was like, whoa! Like when Iron Man had the fist, I was like, oh my god, she cut her hair.
Yeah, she does. She does. Why am I making Disney references this episode? But she goes full Tangled by just like
Yes,
dramatically
he's
cutting
like
it.
cutting her by her hair. She's like, oh, you're just dangling by your hair now, and she's like, the fuck are you talking about? Shrink like.
Yeah, and cuts her hair short. And I actually forgot. I'm like, oh yeah, Silk normally has short hair. I forgot like that's a thing in like all later appearances. In this, she had the long hair.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, who wound up being your favorite character outside of Silk?
If I'm gonna be so honest, for the 2 seconds that he was there, it was probably Johnny Storm.
Oh yeah, he was
Hmm.
great.
I
I
I just
love I love the page of them on the construction
yeah.
site or whatever, and she just kind of gives him a kiss and like
Mhm.
swings away, and he literally kind of has like that moment of like wow,
Yeah.
like he
It
goes full crush. He's like
yeah,
that was awesome.
that was another great part for me. I really enjoyed just at least having her have some kind of semblance of a relationship with somebody.
Yeah. Which is funny because I know Black Cat, like in her run later on, also flirts with Johnny Storm and all this stuff. I'm like, man, Johnny Storm really just goes after anybody
Johnny Storm is a
associated.
whore.
Yeah, but anybody like associated with Peter, he's like, hmm?
I mean, come on. You've seen Johnny Storm before.
Yeah,
That's really
he dates like an alien bug in this latest Fantastic Four run or something I saw. But what was your favorite moment or piece of dialogue from like this book?
I had let me take 1 second to find the screenshot that I took of this one because I
Okay.
just there and I was like, oh my god. It was the
I had to flip back and like find some pages because I do feel like this run was a little like forgettable in the sense that I was like, what exactly happened in
yeah,
some of these
I
issues?
agree. That's exactly what I was feeling. So she says, I love this mix. And then her friend says, right? Girl talk rules. She goes, yeah, I like talking with girls too. That was really funny.
Just that awkward, I don't
Yeah.
know how to talk to people.
And then she goes, do I ever seem anxious to you? And then she says, not really. Like, do you feel anxious? She's like, I'm dancing. Anxious people can't dance, right? She's like, pretty sure that's not how it works.
Hmm.
So that was probably just my favorite part. Just kind of at least having her acknowledge, like, hey, like, guys, maybe crazy question, but like, am I like anxious? And they're like, what? And she's like, but like, I'm here right now doing this. Yay! I'm not. Am I anxious?
She's like a
No.
socially awkward nerd in denial,
Yeah,
just
like
being like, I'm fine. We're
she's like,
fine, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I loved Silk's personality in
yeah,
this book. Um, outside of like the date with Johnny Storm, outside of like the stuff with the brother, I think for me it would be the interactions with J. Jonah Jameson
oh yeah,
as like the tell me what you know, I'm gonna help you, and just like that conversation of like the world is ending.
yeah,
He's like, you know what? If you're not going to go there of your own free will, here's your assignment for the day. Go to that building and do a story on what your brother thinks
yeah.
about all of this. So I did like those interactions.
Yeah, I mean, like we've definitely seen J. Jonah Jameson have some soft spots on occasion,
Hmm.
but it seemed nice that, she was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired because I'm looking at, I think he was looking at Facebook or something.
Hmm.
And, he's like, just tell me what the hell you're doing. And she's like, well, my family's missing.
Yeah. What would you rate the book out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 6.5.
6.5. Why not higher?
Why not higher? Because of how, like, kind of all over the place it was. I
Hmm.
enjoy Silk as a character, which is why I'm not giving it a 5, which is why I'm not giving it a 6. I'm giving it a
Hmm.
6.5.
Okay. I'm like I'm around there, but I'd give it like a solid 7.
Mm,
I had a good time with it. I really liked this as an introduction to the character of Silk and like more of her than just her bouncing off of like other spider heroes and like the
yeah.
other books I've read her in. So yeah, I'm a solid 7. I
All
gotta be
right,
honest
all
though,
right.
the fact that like I feel like this episode has kind of been quick, there's not much to talk about when it comes to these 7 issues, I feel like. I
Mm,
feel like this was very much a setup
mm,
for what's probably going to happen in the 19 issue run that follows.
100%.
And like just to talk about Silk as a character, how do you feel about Silk like in her time at Marvel Comics? Because like something that I've noticed is, you know, yeah, her Sony show got canceled, so that got shelved. But even like at Marvel Comics, like it very much feels like she's getting the America treatment where they won't give her an ongoing, they just keep giving her 5 issue minis.
And I'll say it again, Sean. It's because they hate women.
Hey,
um,
you might be onto something because they're resurrecting Gwen Stacy with the tagline of "Nothing is sacred."
dude, and my brother is a big Gwenpool fan,
Hmm.
and he has gone on so many rants to me about this, and just I feel like they've just done so many female characters that people have had them be so beloved, and kind of just like, I don't know,
Hmm.
just obliterating their characters. We already talked about obliterating characters earlier, but just I hate when they do that. A character they give such a great setup, who has such a great personality like Silk, who has such a kind of kick-ass badass personality like America, who is kind of something like nobody's ever really seen before in terms
Hmm.
of, a female fronted comic series, and then they're like, mm, actually, we're not going to go through with this anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, because I'm looking up the minis that she's had. She had a mini in so after the 19 issue run wraps in like 2017, she has a mini in 2021, and that was a different creative team. Maureen Gu was the writer. Because I'm curious, like the Robbie Thompson stuff ends. So then so she had 3 5 issue miniseries each year between 2021 and 2023. And so for the 2022 run, it was a different writer. So it wasn't like it was continuing off the
Mm-hmm.
previous thing. It looks like it was the same artist. Um, and then for the latest miniseries, the 2023 one, which I think was one of the ones you were reading month to month.
Yes.
Okay, so that one kept the same writer from the previous miniseries, Emily Kim. Um, but again, she hasn't had a solo title since. Just 3 5 issue minis, and that's it. Technically, well, not even technically, she has gotten more than America because
Yes.
America had the 12 issue, and then she's only had like Made in the USA since.
And America, I mean, at least America made her on-screen debut.
Mm,
And I don't think that Silk is going to get that chance.
she will
Um,
be in the next Insomniac Spider-Man game if it ever gets made and comes out.
okay, I'll take
Because
that. I'll take
because
that crumb.
the post credit of Spider-Man 2 is Silk showing up and you don't see her face or anything, but it's like, this is my daughter, Cindy Moon. And you just see like the back of her head and she waves because Cindy's dad is dating Miles's mom. That's how it is in the Spider-Man 2 game. However, the
Okay.
Insomniac leaks happened, and so their spider verse game or DLC, whatever, got canceled. Their DLCs for Spider-Man 2 got canceled. Um, we'll see when slash if this game ever comes out. I would like to see Silk show up in, Across the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse, but how do you kind of I'd be curious to see how you would fit her in, being that she's completely absent from Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, 100%. But I don't know why they didn't even include her in Across the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse, if I'm going to be so honest, as I stare at my two Across the Spider-Verse posters that are across me in my room. Um, you know, adding her would have just been like the icing on top of the cake for me.
Yeah.
I love the Spider-Verse series. It's just, for me, I love Miles as a character. But anyways, that's besides the point. Adding her into the mix would have been great. Adding her as kind of like one of the main character rosters, but I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah,
They hate me. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
well, according to you, they just hate women.
They do.
They just
They
hate
do.
women. They focused a lot more on Gwen Stacy in the sequel, but they hate Silk.
They do. They canceled her series because they hate women.
Oh
And
my
now
God. Would
since
you Here's my question. Would you have trusted Sony to actually make a good
No.
Silk show though?
Of course not. Of course not.
Would you have wanted to see her get a movie in the Sony verse?
No.
Or the Sony universe of Spider-Man characters or whatever?
So the impression that I was under was that this Silk series was going to be animated.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I'm making things
I thought
up.
it was live action from the get-go.
Maybe Mandela effect. I don't know if I'm making this up or not. My impression was that it was going to be animated, and that's why I was so excited about it. Because it's so much easier to make a Spider-Man, adaptation animated, which is why I love Across the Spider-Verse so much. Because just sometimes making things live action sucks all the joy and the energy out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about America as well in this, and how the MCU is kind of having a bit of a downfall at the moment. Is America even going to be in another MCU movie? Is she?
Yeah, there was like one rumor report that she was going to be like a MacGuffin for Doomsday or something, that she would be the key to the multiverse or
So like,
something.
but who the fuck even knows if half these movies are going to be made anymore?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be entirely honest, after the flops that have been coming out in theaters and the shows that have been coming out on Disney Plus, just they're announcing things and then immediately canceling them, or having them be in limbo for 5 years, and then 5 years later they're finding out that
well, I hear Armor Wars is still in development. Maybe.
God, you must have the strongest faith.
Remember when Armor Wars was going to be a show? They turned it into a movie, and there's still just been no news on it.
And Don Cheadle's like, what the hell is Armor Wars?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, and Rhodey was maybe a Skrull for the last, like, how many years?
Whatever. At this point, I don't even know half the shit that's going on in the MCU. I just, they have these projects that they're announcing, and then, I feel like it's kind of getting the Marvel's treatment, where it's like, we're gonna put out a movie that's all women, and they put out the movie that's all women, it flops, and they're like, I guess the problem
It was their
women.
first movie that lost money on paper.
That's what I'm saying.
75 million loss.
And all right, I will say, I didn't see the Marvels.
You didn't see it?
But no.
I at least saw it.
No,
I will say, I think the movie was fun. However, the villain, so boring. I enjoyed their interactions as a trio.
Of course. I mean, for me, my own political beliefs, I was kind of like not watching any Marvel MCU kind of Disney stuff for a little while. And I kind of just never got around to watching it because I just heard that it was so ass. But I will give it a try eventually. I do like the, Kamala Khan as a character, and as well as Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau. The MCU has just been such complete dog shit. Like I said, we talked about that already, but so many things are in such limbo right now. And of course, with Sony having the Spider-Man rights, is completely
just sell them back.
Sell
them back.
Did you see Kraven the Hunter?
I did see Kraven the Hunter. I saw it. I see every movie opening. Actually, did I see Kraven opening night? Pretty sure I saw Kraven opening night. I might have actually waited till Friday night to see it. I don't remember. I might have been busy with work. I thought Craven was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was okay too. I mean, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. He had a silly, goofy accent in this movie. But uh overall fine movie. Just kind of gave me the vibe of he was in the Amazon with my mom when she was doing research before she died,
The
whatever.
Rhino was so dumb.
Oh my god, horrible.
I
Um,
I especially love the part where like he gets informed that something went wrong with the plan and he makes that weird noise.
yes.
Um,
Ah!
I remember just seeing that in theaters being like, what the actual heck
Yeah.
is going on? Um, it was okay. Chameleon was a surprise. Spoilers, Chameleon showing up in the movie. Um, I thought it was all right. But what was, oh, actually, I was disappointed with Craven. 'Cause
Really? No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, right? Shocker, right? No, so here was the funny thing with Craven, because that's the thing. Like a lot of these things are becoming so forgettable for me. Who knows?
Oh
Maybe I have
wow.
an issue. But like I'm like I have to remind myself of like how I actually felt in the moment watching it. At Comic-Con, they showed us the first 10 minutes of Craven, and
God.
then they showed us the fight scene of him like killing all the people in the forest. And I was like, holy shit, this should be a good action movie at least. And those were the only two good action scenes
Yeah.
in the whole movie. And I was like, wow, they really just showed us the only two good action scenes at Comic-Con because the rest of the movie is just forgettable. Um,
Yeah.
that was like, I was so disappointed. I'm like, if you're gonna have the rated R rating, like actually make use of it.
Mhm.
Like, we could have had more, action and killing and all that stuff, and I would have been fine. But no, it was literally just the first 10 minutes and then that fight, which then kind of falls apart when they start fighting with, I don't know, wildebeests or whatever they were, bison as the rhino. I don't even know. I don't even know. And then
Well, at the
Russell
end of the
Crowe gets
day,
eaten by a bear. And like, I thought it was so weird, like the ending where I love how like this whole episode was Silk and we've just been bashing on Sony and the MCU. But like the whole thing was he got pissed off at his dad for killing the magic lion or whatever. And then like his dad at the end turned the lion hide into Craven's signature jacket. And like the final shot of the movie is him like recreating that Craven the Hunter comic cover
mhm.
of him like sitting in a chair or whatever wearing the jacket. And I was just there like, if he's such this animal lover or whatever, why the hell would he put on and he's like, if he hates his dad, he killed his dad by like having a bear attack him or whatever, and like he took the bullets out of the. I was just like, why would he put on the jacket at all? If anything, like this version of Craven you've built up, I feel like would just be like, screw this, I'm not taking this final gift from dad or whatever. It was just, it was
It felt
forgettable.
more
I'm
like a fuck you to
happy
the dad.
yeah, I'm happy that, that movie came out and Sony went, yeah, we probably should wrap this up. It's probably not working.
Well, I'm
Um,
blaming Craven the Hunter for the reason why we're not getting the Silk series. Obviously, the two are not correlated at
well, that's
all.
the thing. We're still getting
But
Spider-Man 20, Spider-Man Noir. We're still getting Spider-Man Noir. Um, and yeah, that was the
because they hate
other,
women.
that was the,
Kristi, how many times has Kristi said because they hate women in this episode?
yeah. We'll get a tally going, take a shot every
Yeah.
time Kissy says because
Well,
they hate winning.
I've been drinking this whole time.
In this episode, I haven't poured myself anything. I've actually been getting rid of my stuff. I've had like all these Lagavulins and stuff. I
Mm.
like because like when I turned 21 and I could buy stuff, I bought a bottle of Lagavulin 16. I think I did finish that and I got another bottle. But like I got a Macallan 12. I bought a bunch of these different scotches and aged stuff and stuff that, I enjoy. Um and I've just slowly been dwindling that
Mm.
supply. And so now I'm at the point that I've almost finished everything. Like I think all I have left is Ryan Reynolds Aviation Gin, which I really need to learn how to make mixed drinks to actually enjoy it because it tastes like rubbing alcohol without
Ew.
something mixed into it. It's like it's gin.
Of course.
I have a rum that my brother got me. Um, and I have like another scotch. But like I also haven't really been drinking because like I feel like it upsets my stomach the
Mm,
next day because I have like stomach stuff going on. And it's
yeah.
like I drink when I'm like in the mood and I
Mm,
enjoy it, but I have been like doing it less just because I don't have like the desire for the taste or anything as much lately.
yeah. Wow.
Um,
I'm just drinking a stupid shitty little White Claw, and I'm just like,
I've never had White Claw. I've never had it.
if you haven't had one and you prefer whiskey and gin, don't drink a White Claw then.
Yeah. Like I feel like because that was a thing I remember in college, I told some people I was like, yeah, I've never done shots. And they're like, "Oh man, we gotta do shots." And so like they showed up at the, place I was, we were like, "All right, I'll try shots or whatever." And they showed up with lemon Bacardi, and I already don't like the taste of lemon. So we're doing that. I'm like, this is garbage. And so I had like a bottle of Tito's vodka at the
Ugh,
time. Well, I
even
enjoy
worse.
I enjoy vodka neat. And so I was doing like Tito's shots or whatever. I'm like, this is better.
Nah, man, I was doing my friends and I were had come over last night. We were doing shots of like citrus tequila. That shit is fucking nasty.
Citrus tequila.
I don't know. Because she just had it for whatever mixed drink she was
People
making.
like lemon flavored
Uh,
alcohol, and I don't
I
understand
don't
it.
like lemon flavored alcohol either.
I
Anyway,
don't get the appeal.
we got we got off topic with
I was gonna say, you think Silk does lemon Bacardi shots? You think
no,
you think when she was like proving that she could dance, that's what she was kicking back?
I don't know what her drink of choice is, but I hope it's not lemon Bacardi.
Yeah,
Ew.
no.
Um, but yeah, Silk, I hope that one day she gets the appreciation that she deserves. I hope that, she gets an accurate portrayal of her character.
Mhm.
Um, but as we have seen other women be portrayed in superhero media, it's unlikely. you
What
know,
if she shows up in like Avengers for like no
she's
reason,
not
right?
going to.
And she shows up just to get like thrown off the cliff that Black Widow gets thrown off of, just to like, and then the camera just turns and goes, "This was for you, Kristi."
Well, then I'm going to Kevin Feige myself. I'm going to his house. I'm
Something
already on my way to his house, if I'm gonna be honest.
something I'm thinking about though, like, just thinking about these characters that you really love. Probably a really fun book to do that hasn't been done yet. If you're gonna keep giving, America a 5 issue, you give Silk 5 issue. I think Kate Bishop's last book was even just a 5 issue around the time the Hawkeye show was coming out. I would be curious to see a book that's like a team up of the trio, Kate
That would
Bishop,
be
America, and Silk. I think that could probably be a really fun dynamic. I don't know, aren't maybe they're on Champions or a team like with others? Because I know there's all these books that I haven't read of like Champions, and I haven't read all the Young Avengers books, but like doing kind of like a Birds of Prey or a
yeah.
Sirens type thing of the three of them, that could maybe be an interesting
Yeah, because
story
there
to
will be
tell.
only three female characters in the Marvel universe right now.
Yeah, just don't make it like a 5 issue. Actually have the
Yeah.
faith to make it an ongoing. But that's a thing at Marvel. It's like they don't trust things to have more than
Say
five
it, Sean.
issues.
Say it, Sean. They don't think that women can make money.
They just hate to see a girl boss winning.
Exactly. They hate to see a girl boss winning.
I'm like the whitest white guy ever with like the beard. And here I
They
am.
hate to
They
see my
just
girl
they hate to
Cindy
see a
Moon
girl boss
winning.
winning.
They hate to see my girls winning.
Hmm. Oh my God. So, are there any other thoughts you had on Silk or this Silk run?
um, no, I don't really think so. It was so short, the 7 issues. I mean, it was easy to get through. I hope that one day she gets the series that she deserves. I
Hmm.
really do.
I think
She needs
the I think
she
the
needs more
clip
meat.
for this episode is going to just be like a compilation of every time you say they just hate women.
Yes,
I think
because
that's
it's
going to be one of
true.
the clips.
I could go
And
into
I'll
like
just have a
oh,
tally counter in the corner.
thank you, thank you.
All right, well, if that's it. Thank you once again for visiting your local comic shop. If you like today's discussion, please feel free to check out other episodes we've done. All episodes of the podcast are available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud, with new episodes dropping every Monday at midnight. Please feel free to subscribe to the show and follow my socials at Local Comic Sean for clips, what we're reading in the future, and more fun. We also have a website by the time this episode will be out, localcomicsean.com. Feel free to check it out. You could sign up for notifications if you don't want to get notified on Spotify. You can get notifications to your email or something. I'm new to it, but I built it, so it's out there. If you'd like to support the show, I encourage you to subscribe to our Patreon to gain access to behind-the-scenes content and other resources for both reading and digital creation. Thank you once again for visiting, and I'll see you the next time. Any outro words, Kristi?
I love women.